Welcome to the podcast. If you don't run an agency yet, or you're still kind of figuring out what to sell, this probably isn't for you. Hey, I'm Nick, and on this show, we talk about agency owners and operators that are actually doing real numbers, breaking 100K months, even $1 million months, and how to scale past it. I've built and sold multiple agencies myself, and today we work with companies doing over $100 million in annual revenue combined across them. So there's no get-rich-quick answers here. These are real conversations about what's working, what's breaking, and what it actually takes to grow and scale without losing your mind. So if you're in the game and you're trying to level up, you're in the right place. Let's get into it. All right. Welcome everybody to the Agency Breakthrough Podcast, where we talk about how to increase your profit, how to scale your agency. And today we got Bo on from Pareto Legal Marketing. Bo's business is really successful in the agency space and has carved out a nice little niche. Bo, thanks for coming on, and maybe tell us about like the history of Pareto, where it was and where it is.
Sure. Thanks for having me on, guys. So I've been doing this now for almost 8 years. And when my co-founder and I started this agency, we were really kind of an agency for everyone. We knew that we wanted to focus on like pay-per-click and digital advertising, but we were working with all different types of businesses, right? But about 3 years ago, we wised up and realized that it made a lot of sense to also pick a vertical. And we took a hard look at our client roster, and we realized our best clients were law firms. And before founding this agency, I was the CMO for a large law firm in Philadelphia. And so there was just like a lot of transferable skills, and all the stars aligned. And we kind of built this sibling agency in Pareto Legal. And yeah, that was already 3 years ago. And now 90% of our client roster is law firms. And we've just built so much process and expertise and specialization in different subsets of legal, like personal injury, criminal defense, immigration, workers' compensation, so on and so forth. So yeah, all the stars kind of aligned. And then we got introduced, I think, Nick, like 12 or 18 months ago. And that was also another kind of stars aligning moment where we had been just grinding our gears so much to grow and keep, figuring things out. And we realized we weren't very good at the operation side of things. And that realization, I think, has led to so much more in our growth and our profitability, in that, a lot of the things that you learn about running an agency are not intuitive. A lot of the things are counterintuitive. It's not common knowledge. And so bringing someone like you in really helped kind of open our eyes to all these things we were doing wrong, or all these things that we didn't have in place. And since we started working with you, we actually hired a head of operations. That happened 8 months ago, and that's been instrumental in so much of our recent success too, where I'm out of the day-to-day, which is a wonderful feeling. I'm not dealing with fires, and we're having more proactive, data-driven conversations about like, hey, what does the next phase look like? Or like, what are the problems that we need to solve for within this week or this month or this quarter based off of what our reporting is telling us. So anyway, very long-winded response, but that's kind of us in a nutshell and how we came to work with you guys.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, obviously, Bo, you've been a client for a while now, and, people generally need help on the back end operations, like that kind of stuff. But you guys were getting clients amazing results already. So like that wasn't ever the problem. It's like, hey, getting clients great results, getting them to stay and stick around. Like, you guys famously have like a very long client lifetime value because you take really good care of your clients. We accentuated some things, but you guys were always delivering like the quantitative results like every single time, which obviously does help greatly. But it was just more so on the like, how do we actually like scale this thing? How do we make this thing scalable? How do we actually generate like consistent profitability while still having that great client LTV, those great client results, and not over delivering? That's generally the hard part.
Yeah. And I think something that you helped us realize is once you hit a point in your agency's kind of maturity and you're ready to truly scale, it's about doing increasingly less better, right? And so it's I know that I've already made it clear that like we decided to pick a niche, both like in terms of PPC and both the legal vertical, but then it's getting even more granular and intentional in terms of like, this is what we're doing within our channels. This is how we're handling the client success function. This is our cadence for communication. This is how we run calls. This is how we structure campaigns and how we do landing pages, like getting extremely granular with that. But then also questioning, are the things that we're doing actually driving the client outcome? And if they aren't, then they need to be removed from the equation entirely. Like we just went through this with our business review process, where that kind of got a little out of hand, where we were spending a lot of time on creating decks and doing all of this busy work. And we just realized all we need to do is get, the key stakeholders on a call, record the call, transcribe it into this format, and then we have all the ingredients we need to go have an incredibly productive quarterly business review meeting with our clients, right? So just there, it's been the last 18 months with you guys have really just been an exercise and just slowing things down. Again, this is part of that counterintuitive thing I was saying before. Like, you think as you scale, you got to do like more and more and figure more of this stuff out. And it's like, no, it's like slowing down and actually questioning, hey, if we were to get 30 more of these clients, like, how would we actually be able to deliver a result to them and provide them a client experience that's memorable and positive, right? And a lot of that is trimming fat and just saying like, yeah, we're not going to do these 50 things over here. We're only going to do these 5 things extremely well.
Yeah, and I think that like one of the main things that we did, and obviously like you're running kind of like lean on the profitability side a bit at the beginning, right? And you were investing in a couple things as well, but we basically like re-engineered like a few things internally and set some very specific targets up and all this stuff so that we could actually generate, like, now you guys know you can produce like 40%, even 50% profitability in your business consistently.
Yeah.
Right? Like right now you're going through a growth phase and you've invested in some talent like maybe earlier than what the numbers dictated, just because you want to grow into it, because you're going very quickly into like a scale up phase. And shout out for anybody listening to this. If you know anybody that's a lawyer, Bo is in the middle of writing a book, and he's gonna write the definitive book on how to do law firm marketing. So if law firm
digital advertising, to be precise, there's plenty of books on law firm marketing, but this is like, again, in the spirit of my agency, it's very niche, and it's a book on law firm digital advertising, even more specifically Google advertising. So there might only be like 500 people in the world that want to read my book, but like, make no mistake, if I get them to read my book, like, they're going to become a client at some point. So
yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, and you've basically been able to generate this like super high profitability through our work together. And like, kudos to you, because you've put it together, I think, in a fantastic way. But ultimately, like, I think that, when we started working together, one of the major things that you had was, we just don't know how the machine works. Like, how do I push and pull the levers? What sequence of buttons do I need to press to make this thing have this profitability that I ultimately want, and for it to be scalable at the same time? So it's not just like, hey, we're profitable or we're scalable. We're doing both at the same time.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I'll give a very specific thing that you told me a year ago, and you were right, and I'm glad that I listened to you. I remember coming to you on a call, a coaching call, and I was like, hey, we work with law firms only now. Like, I need to go and like fire all of my non-law firm clients, right? Like that sounds like that's the best decision, because then I can keep my team super focused on that niche and we can build even more operational efficiency. And you were like, number one, don't do that. And number two, you can keep these non-legal clients over here, still deliver an excellent service to them, which we have, but then continue to focus on building out this kind of legal arm of your agency, which really is the arm of my agency now, right? And so just again, this stuff isn't taught in textbooks, and like I think owners get in their own way, and they hear like a YouTube short, or they hear what one of their agency friends is doing, not kind of recognizing they're in a totally different stratosphere or maturity level, and they're like, yeah, I'm gonna go and fire this client, or I'm gonna go and hire 2 more people because that's what I heard I'm supposed to do. No, what you guys have helped us do is take a objective look at our business based off of where we're at currently. And I will say, like, all of the dashboarding that you guys gave us was really instrumental in helping get us more profitable and make better decisions. But now it's always the kind of the lens we're looking at our agency through is just being better than we were 90 days ago, right? And having the dashboarding and the metrics to confidently track that and make those decisions. I remember too, like, we talked with you about hiring some more people, and you brought up this metric, the direct labor efficiency ratio, which, like, I'd never heard of that before. I had looked at P&Ls. I knew what EBITDA was. I knew what gross margin was and all this stuff. But then you advise us, like, hey, like, this is where you want your DLER to be. Like, and is this going to erode that if you guys hire this many people and you keep adding this number of clients? Like, where does that land? So just having this more conscious, proactive methodology of making these decisions, running the business, it's just taken a lot of the stress out of my role as an operator owner, because I don't have to guess anymore. I don't have to throw stuff at the wall and then kind of look back 6 months later and be like, why did nothing stick? Right.
I think the main thing for me is that, like, yeah, we put in the systems because there were some systems missing. There were some systems that we have to, like, polish up and things like this. But I think you'll agree to this, is that the devil's really not in the, like, system itself. It's in the details of how to run the system, which is, like, the difference, right? Because, like, look, you can go out and download a bunch of lead magnets around dashboards and, like, people systems and onboarding and all this stuff, right? Like, you can chat GPT, you can Claude it, like, whatever it is. But it's to your point, Bo, where it's like, this is not an information problem, like, in the traditional sense of, like, the information's out there, right? It's the contextual application of it, which is basically like me putting these things into place or whatever have you. That's not the thing that made you successful. It's the fact that, like, I was able to hand off, like, how I think about these to you, and you absorb them, and then you applied them in your day-to-day basis, where now you don't need me to be around, because, like, you almost have, like, my voice in your head being like, this is what Nick would say, because it's like you have fully integrated the learnings. And so now, even when you approach situations that we've never dealt with together, you're going to be able to deal with them, because you're like, I have the data, I have my people systems, I have how I onboard clients and how I treat clients, I have my sales systems and, like, how I sell to people, and they're all interconnected. Like, all of these things are interconnected, and now they reside in your brain, right?
Not even my brain, my head of operations brain, right? And so that's the other thing, is, like, I don't have to think about this as much anymore. All of those teachings, that whole methodology that you've educated us on over the last 12 to 18 months has been transferred over to my head of ops. And he is very familiar with how your dashboards work, what things you're looking at. And so, yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I could have hired a head of operations before working with you, but I would have brought him into an environment where he wasn't set up for success, right? Like, bringing you in was necessary work to install this critical infrastructure such that an operator could come in and start connecting dots and just not starting from scratch, right? Which, like, Andrew, my head of ops, is fantastic. If I gave him that challenge, I'm sure he would have risen to it. But
It would have taken a lot longer. That's
So
for
much
sure.
longer. So much longer. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think that I think this is why you're going to be very successful in the long run. I think there's no real way around it because you've absorbed it. It's beyond just information now. Now it's knowledge. Now it's instinct where you're like, I know innately what to do. And I remember at the beginning, you would come on and just ask like a million questions. And now you're like, I know exactly what I need to do all the time.
Yep.
And that feeling is worth more than, in my opinion, almost anything. Like if I
Yep.
ask you, it's like, what do you need to do now? 3 months, 6 months, 12 months from now, you're like, I know exactly what I need to do. And I also know if that needs to pivot based off of all the information in the systems and the dashboards and everything that I have around me, you can adapt it in real time without help. You just instinctively know.
Yep. I think the big mental paradigm shift I had from working with you guys was, you know, when it comes to being successful as an agency owner, it's really doing everything in your power to keep churn as close to 0% as possible. Like that's another, again, counterintuitive thing where you think growing an agency is like more clients, more clients, more clients. It's like, no, you, if you can keep your clients for 3, 5, 10 plus years, and then are only churning 3% a year and you're adding have to add like 5, 6, 8 new clients a year, which is, that's less than one a month. That is a really viable way to keep growing an agency, right? It doesn't
And it's much less stressful than the alternative.
exactly. Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like, who wants to deal with churning 10, 20, 30 clients a year and then having the stress of oh, am I going to close these things in time so that the revenue doesn't drop? And oh, now I'm negative on a month. And now it's like every single month's profitable. We know it's profitable. We know it's going to be profitable before the month is even here. We know 2 to 3 months down the line where
Yep.
we're going to be at, where our cash balance is going to be at, all these things. And it's like stress goes out the window because the cash is it's spoken for. You know where it's going to be at. It's up and to the right, and what it is that you need to work on because of all the systems that have now been injected. So it's but I will say that for you and Pareto, you guys have really taken to it. You were highly committed, and again, it's not like I taught you in any way, shape, or form how to deliver wealth for your clients. It was the things around it that were the key. But the client results, you guys already had that in the bag.
Yeah, I mean, that's a prerequisite of any agency worth their salt in 2026 is you actually have to be good at the service. You have to be able to deliver a positive experience and outcome for your clients. It's really, again, the things that aren't taught in school, the things that aren't just common knowledge about running a business like this, right? So I'm a fantastic marketer. If you bring me into a client and I can, generate amazing results and my team can generate amazing results. But when it comes to, running my own business, that's where it just felt like I had to fail forward and keep making mistakes along the way. Bringing someone like you in helped me skip probably years worth of mistakes. And frankly speaking, if you're an agency that is looking to grow, and you haven't thought about operations yet, I think this is your sign. Even if you don't hire Nick, start thinking about how to bring in an operator to start creating cohesion and structure and reporting so that the business isn't just you running around like a chicken with your head cut off trying to win new business, keep clients happy, hit all these deadlines, right? That's where operations really needs to come in and provide so much relief to the owners and operators. So anyway,
Yeah.
I'm glad I had that realization 18 months ago because it's made my life a lot easier today.
Yeah. Well, again, thanks so much for being on the show, Bo. Really appreciate you. As a client, as a friend as well. I know we talk offline
Yeah.
here and there. So again, thanks so much for doing this. Appreciate you. And if there's one big takeaway outside of the one that you just gave, which I think is a pretty good one, it's like, hey, work on your ops. Because like if you're kind of capped out, or when you like grow past this point, it's like this is where things break down. What would be the second biggest takeaway as a closing statement?
You can't do this alone. You can't do it alone. There's so many knowledgeable people out there like Nick and Win and others where just the value of buying their expertise and time is just it's really invaluable to be able to take that and apply it immediately to your business so you don't have to keep fumbling and making mistakes. So that's, any money that I've spent on educating myself and becoming a better leader and business owner has always been money well spent. And that's very much the way I feel about Nick, Win, and the agency acquisitions team.
Awesome. Again, thank you so much. For everybody else out there listening, please like, follow, subscribe the podcast. We're also on YouTube. We're basically audio, video, whatever you want. Until next time, this has been the Agency Breakthrough Podcast.